Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here. We're here for a city council meeting, and it is Monday, May 20th, 2019. We'll start the meeting with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Solomon, Modrick, Nordstrom, Drew, Scott, Drury, Laurenti, Roberts, Armstrong, Lewis. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And now our invocation tonight will be brought to us by Pastor Judy Miller. And following the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, in your word you have given us a vision of that holy city to which the nations of the world bring their glory. Behold and visit, we pray, the cities of the earth. Renew the ties of mutual regard which form our civic life. Send us honest and able leaders. Enable us to eliminate poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with order, and that men and women from different cultures with differing talents may find with one another the fulfillment of their humanity. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office in this state, South Dakota, City, Rapid City, and County, Pennington County, the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. And now we will adopt the agenda, and this is the time when the City Council can adopt the agenda as written or make modifications to it. So would there be a motion? There's a motion to adopt the agenda by Amanda Scott and a second by Laura Armstrong. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a couple of awards and recognitions to take care of here. So if we could have our Rapid City Fire Department come up front. This week is Home Fire Sprinkler Week in Rapid City. I have an executive proclamation to that effect, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Billings to see if he would like to give a speech on the matter. I think he probably will. Absolutely. Whereas the effects of home fires are far-reaching and long-standing, a home fire can become deadly in less than 2 minutes due to today's construction material and common synthetic furnishings producing toxic smoke. And whereas homes should be the place where our residents feel safe, but in reality, home is where they have the greatest risk of injury or death from fire. 90% of all fire-related injuries in Rapid City occur in residential properties. And whereas home fires put our firefighters at risk through exposure that can lead to health issues. And whereas combined with working smoke alarms and proper fire escape planning, fire sprinklers in all homes can reverse the effects of home fires. And whereas by taking part in a national week of action, let us recognize that protecting homes with fire sprinklers will make the future safer for residents, first responders, and entire communities for generations to come. Now, therefore, I, Steve Allender, Mayor of Rapid City, do hereby proclaim May 19th through the 25th, 2019, as Home Fire Sprinkler Week in Rapid City. And so now I'll have a few words by our fire official.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you. Fire sprinkler protection is incredibly important to this community, to this fire department, the state, and the well-being of our community overall. We certainly appreciate the mayor's willingness to present the proclamation this evening for that. I'm also very proud to say that Rapid City is one of the most proactive communities in the upper Midwest. We have well over approximately 250 homes that are currently protected in the city, in and around the city, with more on the way, and that's a very positive move. We have more systems in the city of Rapid City than anybody, any other place in the upper Midwest. That just shows the dedication that this community has to reducing fire loss and injury, and this is certainly the only tool we have in our toolbox that can make a difference. So thank you. I appreciate it.
It is also National Public Works Week. And so here's an executive proclamation. Dale Tech, our Public Works Director. Whereas public works professionals focus on services that are of vital importance to a sustainable and resilient community, with an emphasis on public health, quality of life, and well-being for our residents. And whereas public works professionals plan, build, maintain, manage, and operate in the heart of our community to improve the everyday quality of life, streets, roads, bridges, and public transportation that keep us linked together, along with clean water and sanitation services to keep us healthy and allow our communities to grow and prosper. And whereas the infrastructure, facilities, and services which makes our community great could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of local public works professionals who are our friends, neighbors, and family members, serving as engineers, managers, and employees at all levels, who are responsible for building, improving, and protecting our city's transportation, water supply, storm and wastewater treatment, and solid waste systems, in addition to public buildings, public transportation, and other services essential for our citizens. And whereas 2019 marks the 59th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, now therefore I, Steve Allender, Mayor of Rapid City, do hereby proclaim May 19th through the 25th as National Public Works Week in Rapid City, and I urge all citizens to join in the activities and events designed to help educate the public about the value and necessity of public works projects and pay tribute to the individuals in public works professions so as to recognize the substantial contributions they make protecting the health, safety, and quality of life for all citizens. Thank you. Anything to say? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my honor to lead the Public Works Department here in Rapid City, and I would also like to invite everybody to an event we're having at Main Street Square this Thursday at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to showcase certainly some of the equipment that we use in the public works industry, as well as some of the people that are involved. So if you have time, please stop by. It's great for kids. They get to interact with the equipment and talk to a lot of great people. So thank you very much.
And now we have an update on the Veterans Banner Project by Bill Casper. Bill, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council. About a month and a half ago, Darla Drew asked me if I would come to a council meeting and give an update on the Banner Project, so here I am. A little bit of a history on this project for some of you that may not be familiar with it. It started with a golfing friend of mine's wife who was from Emporia, Kansas, saying that they had a project like this going down in Emporia, and wouldn't it be nice if we had something going here in town. So I got in contact with Emporia and took a look at it and thought, why not? And not really knowing what I was doing, I went and looked downtown and saw the banners hanging up along Main Street in St. Joe, and found out that they were hung up by the Main Street Square. So I went and talked to Dan Seffner and found out that a lot of these organizations had ongoing contracts to put up these banners every year, but that he could give us 18 banners for that month of November leading up to Veterans Day. And so because I do a lot of work with World War II veterans, I went ahead and found people, children, grandchildren, to sponsor a veteran and put them up on these banners. And what the project does is we just charge the sponsor the cost of the banner and the cost to hang it. And so we put up 18 banners, and I've got an example here, if Dr. Larry Simonson would hold this up, and I brought this one up on purpose. This lady is Lieutenant Marcella LeBeau. I say she's a combat engineer, although she told me Tuesday afternoon that she sure isn't because she didn't carry a gun, but she treated wounded all the way up, including the Battle of the Bulge. And the reason I brought her banner in today is Marcella's 99 years old, and she's going to France in a couple of days to participate in the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And not only that, but if you'll tune into PBS on March 26th, after the Memorial Day program, there is a documentary titled Angels in Our Midst. It's a documentary about combat engineer nurses in the war, and she will be one of the nurses featured. And Marcella will turn 100 on October 12th. So we got some TV and newspaper coverage in 2017, and so I started getting a lot of people calling me about inquiries about could they sponsor a veteran. And so we took a look, and the first thing, of course, we needed was banner hangers to put them on. And I was driving along and I was noticing these hangers on the light poles, and there didn't seem to be anything on them. And I kind of watched through the summer and thought maybe the Sturgis Rally would have some up, but they weren't. So I went and contacted Jeff Biegler and Scott Anderson at Park and Rec and found out that really they were only used for hanging the Season's Greetings banners on. So we had a conversation, and we got permission to use those banner hangers. And so last year we put up 70 more, actually I think it was 72 more banners up along Main Street and St. Joe from East Boulevard to West Boulevard and through the Gap. So last year we had 90 banners up. Going on to this year, I keep getting inquiries from more people. Obviously, when they see these, they want to sponsor somebody, a dad, a grandfather, a father, somebody like that. So again, we're looking for more banner hangers. Park and Rec, when I met with them, they were gracious enough to give us 26 more banners on Kansas City Street and Quincy Street, and also 24 hangers along the Memorial Walkway from the Civic Center over to CSAC. And so we've got about 48 hangers that we can use. We did apply for vision funds. We got rejected. However, we're passionate about this project, so we're willing to put up our own money to buy banner hangers and give them to the city if we can use them for a certain period of time. So again, we're still looking for even more possibilities. We're looking at least 4 areas. One of them is on St. Joe Street from East Boulevard out past the School of Mines football field. This kind of goes along with the East of 5th development, and the School of Mines is in support of that. We're looking at West Boulevard, from St. Patrick Street to Quincy Street. We're looking on Canyon Lake Drive from Jackson Boulevard over to Mountain View, and we're looking at West Main going up past the guard camp and over to West Chicago. I think the potential to grow here is unlimited if we can just get the banner hangers up. As I mentioned before, I'd like to see these on every light pole in town. Right now I've got 28 more applicants than I have room for on banner hangers this year, so I'm going to have to tell them that they're going to have to wait until next year. I think our project is perfectly in line with the statement that we are a military city, and I think what better way to show it than by having as many of these banners honoring veterans as we can. This past year we had veterans from World War I all the way through Afghanistan. And in closing, just a couple of side notes. This year we will have a former mayor of Rapid City up on a banner. Art LaCroix will be up on a banner. And we'll have a council member's father up on a banner this year. We will also have a Civil War veteran up this year. William Riley, who joined the Illinois Union Army, fought, was wounded, was captured, survived, and then moved out here to South Dakota. And his great-great-great-grandniece is going to sponsor him. And we will have the highest-ranking World War II Marine officer of Chinese descent on a banner. Sam Kwong Wong from Deadwood will be up. And his family, his ancestors moved out here at the time of the gold rush. So I'm excited about seeing those people up on banners. So with that, any questions or comments by anybody?
Well, thank you, Bill, for all you're doing for the veterans and to bring attention to this important thing. And I think you're threatening the city of Presidents with becoming the city of banners. So
I'd like to think so.
you must be doing a good job.
We'll give them some competition.
Thank you very much. Dr. Simonson, do you have anything to add?
My name is Larry Simonson. I've been affiliated with the school mines for most of the last 54 years. And so I first heard about this banner project when I read about it in the Rapid City Journal maybe a year ago or a little bit more. And I actually knew Bill Casper from the time we were in college a little bit. Yeah, okay, be careful. So I kind of got excited about it. And as an engineer, I realized that many times projects don't follow exactly the plan all the way through. So this is a start. I would like to share with you a little bit what my end point vision would be for affiliation with the school mines. These are some really exciting times for the city of Rapid City. There's a lot of partnering activities with the school mines, and we just look at Rapid City economic development. We look at the B21 opportunities where we'll have a lot of job opportunities for our graduates and for alumni who might want to come back to Rapid City, Ascent Innovation Center, and this is really a good time to recognize veterans. Recognizing veterans is a very popular thing. And so this is really taking several forms here. Over at the school mines, we have a Veterans Resource Center, actually a room where people can go and study and get together and have a support structure. I've talked to Matt Hanley, who works with the Veterans Resource Center, and he says he's been around to all the Veterans Resource Centers in the state of South Dakota, but he says that one in Rapid City is quite unique because we have a facility there and the support structure that they have. We have about 130 to 150 veterans on campus, representing about 5% of our population. And it's been getting very good reviews about being veteran-friendly, GI jobs, military times, and so on. So my end vision would be that we could do something to support the veterans in conjunction with city recognition and connections between the school mines and the Rapid City community. In about 14 months from now, we have an all-school reunion. It's a pretty big event. We'll have over 1,000 alumni coming back to Rapid City for our 5-year reunion. It's right after the 4th of July. And I think it would be really, really neat to be able to have some banners along the campus between East Boulevard and East St. Patrick Street. And I expect that Bill can count, and he told me there's 32 poles. I didn't check them out. But we can put pictures on each side of the banners, so we could put 64 up. I think getting 64 would be just a piece of cake. We'd have to probably take some up, take some down, put some others up. But that's kind of the vision. I think it would be really neat to be able to show our alumni who come back for that event that there is really a nice partnership between Rapid City and the campus community. And our president, Jim Rankin, is very supportive of this type of project and so on. So as I say, projects don't go along as they are always planned. I understand that there's some strength issues with the poles. Dale was telling me that some of them aren't in the best of shape. Talking to Jeff also, there's a lot of issues to work out, but if I can look at the end vision, that would be really kind of a neat thing for Rapid City to see. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go to Laura Armstrong.
Thank you. Mr. Casper, could you come up? I have some questions just for informational purposes. How many banners did you start with this project?
The first year we had 18. That's all the banner hangers we could get from Main Street Square.
Great, and we're up to 48?
90.
90?
We're up to 90 last year.
Great, and what is the...
we've got, right now I've got 26, I've got 49 applications filled, and I've got about that many on my desk by my computer, and I think right now I've only got room for 5 more.
Wow, that's
So we're
long
going to have
demand.
to send out letters saying they're just going to have to wait till next year.
Okay, and then you said that you do this for the cost of the banner and cost of the hanging. How much is that?
Right. This year, there's two sizes. The big banners that hang along the hangers with Park and Rec are 60 inches by 30 inches, and they run $105. And that includes the cost of the banner and the cost to hang it. We had Rosenbaum's signs hang them. And then the smaller banners are 36 by 24, and they run $80. And again, that's the cost of the banner and the cost to hang it. And then we're also offering, some people would like to have the banner, and we're trying to encourage them to allow us to keep them up over the years. So we're offering what we call a Keepsake Banner, and that's going to be 2 feet by 1.5 feet. And it's going to be printed on one side only with no grommets and no sleeves. So it's suitable for hanging. I think some of you folks that were at the luncheon last Tuesday may have seen the one up on the tribute table that we had for Elvin Jensen. They'll look similar to that.
Great, thank you. And then what is the goal? How many do you want? How many banners? I know you said you'd like to see it all over, but do you have a number in mind?
I'll accept the mayor's challenge to change us from the city of presidents to the city of veterans. You know, my goal would be to see them up on every light pole in town. I think we can't do enough to honor these people. Okay. Men, women, right up to the present time. They deserve every honor that we can give them, and I think that's a good way to do it.
And what wars are represented on these banners?
Last year was World War I through Afghanistan. This year will be the Civil War, and I know I've got a lady that wants to sponsor a Spanish-American War veteran. So we'll have Civil War, Spanish War, the Marine officer of Chinese descent, and so on. Wonderful. Former Mayor Art LaCroix, Stan Edelstein, is going to sponsor him on the banner.
Wonderful.
And I won't mention any names on the city council member whose father initials are DD. You can kind of figure that out if you want to.
No names, of course.
Okay, of course.
And then also you mentioned there's a PBS series. You said March 26th? Did you mention
March 26th.
Or May 26th?
Did I say March?
Yeah.
May 26th
Okay, just clarify.
at 9 o'clock, right after the annual Memorial Day program on PBS.
I strongly support this project. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
doing this. Thank you. I'm done.
Anybody?
Darla Drew.
Yes, Darla.
Quick question, what's the cost of a single hanger?
The ones, I was talking with Jeff, the ones like they have on the light poles, I think they run about $82 for the 2 sets of hangers, and I believe the fiberglass poles are included in that. Now, the ones on the Memorial Drive already have the sockets built into the light poles, so what we need is the fiberglass poles on those. And then I think there's 4 light poles on the 6th Street Bridge that are a little different design and don't have any hangers on them.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Just
welcome.
wanted to know.
All right, Lisa Modrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to step in because I think the partnership is absolutely amazing, and one of the main corridors that's missing off of this is Mount Rushmore Road, and the light poles are built with banners. The problem that we have is being able to get this done through the state of South Dakota and the Highway Department. It's going to take the city of Rapid City to communicate that with transportation and get that waiver in there for this banner program. So I think we should stay tuned for that, because that would open up about another 37 spots in a highly visible area, but it will take city communication on that in order to go all the way to the top. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for coming. Appreciate the update. Now we'll move on to item 3A under the mayor's items with a Civic Center Arena update from our Civic Center Director, Craig Baltzer.
Thank you, City Council and Mayor, for having me today. I could easily take 2 hours of your time today. I'm going to keep this short as I can because there's been we haven't gotten a lot of information out to people, and so everybody's wondering. This will be a taste, and I hope that I can get myself invited back to show you more updates, maybe every month or two, and we can do it that way. I do have a few slides to show you, and we're going to go through those in a minute, but I just want to tell you what we've been up to up until now. Immediately after the election, almost a year ago, We went into a concept design, and then in the fall, we went into schematic design, and then after that, we went into design development, which is now complete as of just recently. They have started blueprint type of drawings, hard drawings for a contractor to read. Through these design elements, the contractor is with us, and the architect as well, kind of nudging us when the budget was looking like the estimates were coming out in a little higher. They're nudging us all the way through. So it's been a good process going to where we're at right now. I do want to tell you that what I do show you today, there might be some minute changes yet. You know, maybe we need a doorway here we never thought of, or we need to widen a certain area, those kinds of things. But it'll give you a good idea of what we're going to be looking at today. I also want to tell you that all those ideas that were in the mayor's presentation prior to the vote are still present in this building, and that was 10,000 seats in the 180-degree concert configuration. That was ceiling height of 75 feet, so the large shows and events can load in and hang their shows from there. Loading docks that could handle multiple trucks at one time, so the larger events can get their show loaded in on time for their show, plus dressing rooms and locker rooms to house them and take care of them that way. Floor dimensions, length and width are exactly what we were expecting them to be. The ability to be flexible to widen that floor and make it better for even other events is there. Pertaining systems to be able to size the arena down in seating when we want to, so this can play, you know, 3,500 seats all the way up to 11,700. And what else? Oh, a concourse that's wide enough and big enough to and service a crowd really well. So those components are all in this design. And I think I'll go ahead and, I think I'll go ahead and show you my slides. Sorry, my notes are smudged from the rain. So, first I wanted to show you how it's going to sit on the site. The building sits a little bit more in the northern position, and that was what was kind of presented by the mayor before the election. We toyed with moving it south. We toyed with different ideas, and really it was kind of the best place for operation and for cost, leave it as is. I often get the question, when is groundbreaking? I can tell you this, footings go into the ground end of October. That was always in the plan. What we didn't know was how much ground movement, utility movement needed to happen prior to that. We were thinking that maybe midsummer or sometime during the summer the orange fences would go up and we'll start that work. Because of the position of the building and working with the utilities, not as bad as we thought. I believe that we're going to be just a handful of weeks in front of the footings going in the ground. So maybe late September, early October, somewhere in there is actually when that's going to be going up. And that actually saves money, so it's a good thing. I want to point out a couple of things. Reworking this road to give us a little more up-close parking up close. I'm using, I hope everybody can see the cursor there. The original road goes right through here. So we'll be expanding that up into the plaza. As you can see on this plaza, it's actually, I hope that's not me. It's actually somewhat sizable. What you're seeing on here are food trucks, these are tents, and we're just laying that out for scope. These are vehicles right here in the middle. So it gives you an idea. So we can do some pre-event things out on the plaza, get radio stations out there and tents and sponsors and whatnot. The other thing I want to point out about it is this traffic cutout up here. We have that in the plan, and that's going to be there for an easy drop-off location for Lyft or whoever. We're also trying to get into the budget to put another one right here, and I hope to fit that in. That's on our add alternate list right now, but it's kind of a priority for us. I just also want to focus on the loading dock right here. 4 trucks and a ramp going in, and plus a couple for our use right there. So that is going to be sizable to handle the big shows. Because of the way our parking situation, we're expecting in the initial years of this thing that most of the people will be entering from this level right here, through this way and through this way. And I'm going to show you that right now. Oh, so these are the doors coming in here. These are doors coming in here, and this is on the event level. These are the escalators and stairwells. These are kind of grand stairwells and escalators that will take people up to the next level where they can go to their seating. If you have seating on the floor, you go straight in right from there. There's your bathrooms. There's your concession stands. That's kind of the area of the general public. On a trade show, we might enter people also into the Arena Bowl this way, and we can do portable food and beverage right there. I want to point out in this area that I'm pointing out, these are flex spaces we're going to use internally for right now, but in the future, if we ever have a team going in, this is where they would go. These are kind of extra spaces that we can use. Let's say a sponsor wants to have a pre-event before the show and they've got some floor tickets, or we can do all kinds of things. So these are, they originally were calling them meeting rooms. I go, get the name off of meeting rooms because they're very flexible rooms, can be used multiple ways. So that's what they're for. They're actually for our clients. We expect to make revenue off those. Here's a little box office lobby and ticket sellers. We have a couple offices behind there. Gigantic storage room. As I pointed out, enough locker rooms and dressing rooms and everything we need, including a catering room for the show to house all their needs there, and the loading dock. One feature that we probably didn't originally plan on, but we thought of later, is we wanted to connect the back of house of Barnett Arena to the back of house of the new arena. So some of our events, our larger events that work the two buildings together, would have that connection from the back house over. I'm just showing this real quickly. This is something we're working on pricing on. I'm expecting to get it into the budget. I think it's going to work. This is an internal connector that's using some of the back-of-house operations of the Barnett Arena to get over to the main arena. Of course, it'll be designed just like the main arena, so once you enter it, you get inside. It's the most direct route, and actually it was cheaper than going outside the building and making a connector. So we're trying to see if we can get that costed out, estimated all the way out, and make sure we can fit it in the budget. But I'm showing it to you today because I'm expecting it to be there. Oops. All right, now here's the business end of it. This is the concourse level. As we pointed out, the people will be coming up the stairs and up the escalators here, and we have a wide concourse all the way around for people to use. All the light brown areas are bathrooms, so there's plenty all the way around. The greenish areas are concessions and grills, and this one is being designed out to be in-store market, like you walk through, pick up a few things, go to the cashier, and walk out like you see it in the airport. It's a real quick pickup market. There is additional sales places. This is what we call, what we're calling right now, a private lounge, and on this side is a public lounge. This one you might need a membership to belong into. This one anybody can go to. But that's open into the Arena Bowl. I'm guessing that some people are going to rather hang out here and watch an event than actually go to their seat in an event. We actually have a small little open bar that opens up on the inside on this side. In addition to that, when we need it, we will be able to put all along this wall here and maybe periodically in other places, portable vendors, and we'll switch them out every time. Wanted plenty of places to sell, cut down on the lines, get it sold quickly, and that's what this concourse does for us. Before I go to the next slide, I do want to explain something. Throughout this process, the building that we had in mind to start, and we started with in concept design, is different than what we've got. You're going to see it in the next slide. What we did was we moved the premium level around a little bit. Originally, it was at the top all the way around. I'm going to show you what we got. As you can see, we moved the premium level just to one side, and I'm going to toggle here. There's two levels stacked on top of each other. And what we did was, by doing this, we were able to lower the premium level, make it a little bit more valuable. We raised the seating up over here. We kept our number of seats exactly where we needed to keep them, and I've enclosed the premium services into one area so it's easier to operate for food and beverage and for suite services and all that. These suite levels, I call them suite levels, they're premium levels, are not suites. They are what we're calling on one level theater boxes, and on the other level it's more of kind of a loge type of seating. They both look a lot alike. It's the way you operate them that's different. We did some market research with some of our current sponsors and suite holders over at this was the product that's working. I just want to point out, Target Center just cut half their suites out and went to more of these ideas. My old building in Tampa, Florida, did the same thing. They had 84 suites. They're down to 42 suites. They're going to theater boxes and all that. So without starting off with the team, we think this is the best thing for us to sell, and we're going to be able to sell it. In the future, if we ever want to add in suites, it's easily we can add them in. And that is my very quick, in the nutshell, talk. I do want to point out, as you're going through these slides, these yellow areas are the ADA locations. I also want to point out the telescopic seating I was telling you about, all the seats in light blue all the way around. Those are telescopics. That floor can widen to over 30,000 square feet. And I'm sure my time is up. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer some.
Okay, thank you, Craig, for that update. We'll go to Chad Lewis.
Move to acknowledge, please.
Okay. Motion to acknowledge and a second by Steve Laurenti. Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Craig. This is a great project. I'm very excited about it. But where's your handicap seating?
So these seating in the yellow, I'm sorry, where's my cursor? Right here.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's all right. That's all right. These, so you'll see them. They're scattered all the way around the arena on that mid-level right there. Of course, on a floor-seated show, we'll be able to put ADA seating on the floor. Yeah, they're scattered around right now. We were just actually toying with moving one of these locations yet again. So not 100% in the locations, but the amount of them, which is over the code. It's well over the code.
Great, thank you. And also, as a person and worked at a lot of different facilities like this, your loading ideas, your concourse connector, the green rooms and the backstage are all super important. You know, you don't know until you really get somebody that's a well-traveled, well-seasoned band or performer that expects the best, and then you find out you don't have it and you might not get that performer. So
Right.
Thinking of those things in advance is really important. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Balzer, approximately how many seating places have you got for the ADA?
I'll have to get you that. I do know it's over the code amount, and off the top of my head, I do not remember the number.
That's fine. I appreciate the concept of having them spread out throughout the entire arena. The second question I have for you is the concourse around the arena. Approximately how wide is that?
So as you can see from this drawing here, the majority of our seating is in this J pattern here. And to boot, people are we're expecting a large amount of our audience coming from these stairs and stairwells. So it is actually wider on this concourse than it is on this concourse because of that. We're looking at approximately 27 feet in width from the stair rail to the action over here. It tightens up into like 22 feet around here and probably a little bit tighter over here. My key was this straightaway right through here. I wanted to get nice and wide for audience movement.
I appreciate the concept of people being able to circle around the entire arena. I think that's a fabulous feature. The last question I have for you is the elevators and escalators locations. Can you bring that page up?
So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to point to them. There is 3 treads of stairs going up right here, and next to it is an escalator going up. Also, 3 treads of stairs here and an escalator going up to it and next to it there. There are 2 elevators right here. There is an elevator right here, and there's an elevator right here. So we're actually just about doubling the amount of elevators and escalators at the Civic Center.
I'm going to stop there because there's a lot more things that can be discussed later. So thank you for this presentation.
You bet.
I yield.
Okay, well, I think we're done discussing. Thank you for the update. All in favor of the motion to acknowledge, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Now we're on to general public comment. It's a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. We have 2 speaker request forms at this time. First one from Susan Nolan. And so as you approach the podium, we'll turn this little light on here. Public comment time gives you 3 minutes. Traffic, just like traffic lights over here. Okay? Thank you.
I've been known to be a speeder, so I'll try to get through this 3 minutes. Good evening, Mayor Allender and esteemed members of the City Council. I am Susan Nolan, and I'm here to speak tonight as emphatically as I can in 3 minutes to an issue that I'm going to ask you to be brave and bold and audacious in making a decision about. As you know, several mining companies have permits for several thousand acres to dig exploratory holes in the Black Hills, much of it near Rochford, Pactola, Silver City, and Peshla. These companies are looking for gold. Granted, they are now doing exploratory mining, meaning that they are digging deep holes into the earth and pulling out core samples to see if there's gold there. You can imagine that they have a pretty good idea that there is gold in our Black Hills, and if they find the gold, they will sell these mining claims to companies, and gold mining will begin in earnest. We can expect to see much of our beautiful Black Hills become deep holes and huge dirt piles. Now, there's a major problem with this. There's a lot of problems with this, but in 3 minutes I'm going to talk about one. The mining claims are in our watershed areas. That means that all this rain we're getting, the snow that we've had in the last several months, runs into our creeks, into our lakes, and eventually finds its way into our aquifers. This is our water source, and we put our water source at great risk if mining occurs in the Black Hills. You've approved a lot of money in this community for a new civic center. You have the Embrace the Base program, the incubator, Elevate Rapid City, and a lot of progressive initiatives in our community, and I commend you for those things. Who is going to want to come to Rapid City if our water is contaminated? And it's very likely that that could happen. Did anybody think the water would be contaminated in Flint, Michigan? If their city council had had a more vigilant oversight, that could have been avoided. So, what I'm asking you to consider doing is to begin the process to pass a hard rock mining resolution that would protect our water in our watershed area and consequently in our community. We will be seeking, and when I say we, I say me and Dakota Rural Action, which is an organization I'm part of, who's kind of leading the campaign on water, on saving our Black Hills. We'll be seeking more time on your agenda later and allow you the chance then to hear from a hydrologist and other experts in our community. The safety of our water depends on your actions. I ask that you do consider this process of a resolution to prevent water or mining in our watershed area. And I did bring you some reading material. I have some fabulous maps here. I can't believe they're such nice maps, but they show where these mining claims exist. So thank you so much for your time. And I almost made it.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Now our next speaker request form is from Connie Lazat.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the director at Storybook Island, and it is the place where magic happens. And so on behalf of the staff at Storybook Island, I would like to invite you to our 60th anniversary. Storybook Island will be 60 years old on August 16th. But we're going to start the celebration when we open the park on May 25th. So I invite all of you to come. If you if you can. We will be doing a ribbon cutting at the gate. My guests who come, the last 11 years that I've been there, always line up right at the gate, and I do mean right at the gate, and we have to push them back a little bit because they're so anxious to get in for the summer. But we will have a ribbon cutting, and the woman who will be cutting the ribbon cut the ribbon 60 years ago as a child. Her name is Gunderson, and Margaret Gunderson cut the ribbon when the gates first opened up. And we're going to do it again. She was delighted to be asked, so she will be coming. And her brother, her big brother, I should say, Wynn Gunderson, and his wife will also be present. So it's going to be a great kickoff for us for the 60th year. I do also want to let you know that we have built our Carousel House. I'm sure you've seen it as you drove by. Maybe a few of you have had some peeks at it, but it's something that we've worked on now for 4 years. And we finally have it in place. The carousel is up and on the inside and ready to go when we open the gates. That happening will be at 9:30 in the morning. And I do believe that Jason Solomon has said he would come and cut the ribbon for that event. It's something that we worked on for 4 years. It was about $480,000. We were able to raise it. We have some wonderful contractors who worked with us. Part of it was their giving. The other part was just good old-fashioned, selling popcorn and whatever, train rides. We did sell carousel rides until last year. Then we had to take it down because that's where the Carousel House is going to be. So I would be thrilled if you guys came. And one of the reasons I would be thrilled is I saw in a Rapid City Journal newspaper that on June 16th, 1959, or August 16th, 1959, there were 10,000 people who came to the park. I would love to have 10,001. So be that 10,001 person. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I appreciate the Parks Department here in Rapid City very much. They work with us. They're awesome. Please let them know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes general public comment. Now to non-public hearing items, items 4 through 41. There are no public comment requests for items 4 through 31, so we'll go on to consent items 4 through 31. And does council have a motion on these consent items?
Second.
Motion to approve by Lewis, second by Modrick. All in favor of approving consent, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that'll take us down through non-consent items 32 through 41. Mark, where did you go? Do you know which item this is on the agenda?
Well, that's the second parking ordinance item. I guess it isn't on the agenda. I thought you guys were still dealing with that as current business, but maybe I'm incorrect. Is it too late to speak on that?
No, you missed it by one.
I missed it by 1 week?
Yep. 2
So
weeks.
that's already been decided.
Correct.
That's unfortunate. Can I speak anyways?
Go ahead.
You know, you guys rewrote that ordinance and you based it on the pursuant to South Dakota laws 930 and 931. I have a copy of each here. Neither one of those laws seem to say anything about giving you guys the right to regulate private property. And so I'm here to speak about item number 1040-190 on that ordinance, which is the stopping of parking commercial vehicles, trailers in our private lots. Besides the fact that you've taken the control of private property and stuck it into under the rules of the law that are only there to govern public right-of-way, I don't know how it would even be legal. So the second thing is, and I appreciate the work you guys do, and I realize it's hard. Initially, when I first read this in the paper, I read it wrong myself. I called up John Roberts, chewed his ass for an hour. Found out a little later you weren't grabbing quite as many of my civil rights as I thought you were, but you're still grabbing them because you want to control how I operate my property. Now, you've already told me I can't operate my business on my property, but I don't understand how using these laws to regulate how we regulate public right-of-way can be used to take away my right to have a boat on my property. Now, the second question is, how do you guys expect the city to ever expand in the future? How will anybody in the valley, Red Rocks, any of those areas that aren't already in the city, why would any of those people choose to come into a city where you say, you can't park your boat in your driveway, you can't park your cargo trailer? I think that's kind of a large grab of public civil rights. And so I guess, because I'm here a little late to stop this from happening, you've already allowed it. I would challenge the council to go ahead and have that special code enforcement officer, which I feel is also a violation of civil rights because I lie in their territory. I would challenge you to have that code enforcement officer come over to my property and violate me. Therefore, I can start my lawsuit against the city. I'm looking at having the best year ever because I don't think you can win this. And so I guess it's of my opinion that you've outstretched your rights.
Okay. Back to non-consent items 32 through 41. There's no speaker request for this. Did Fred? Oh, he's back. Fred, if you're going to speak on this item, now would be the time. If you're going to wait, that's okay too. I just want to offer you the opportunity.
I'd answer any questions if anybody has.
Okay, we'll make a note that you're in the audience and can answer questions, all right? So now we'll close the public comment period and we'll go on to ordinances starting with item 32. Item 32, second reading ordinance 6327, an ordinance regarding supplemental appropriation number 3 for 2019.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Scott, second by Laurenti. All in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 33, second reading ordinance 6325, an ordinance to amend section 9.28.030 and repeal section 9.28.040 of the Rapid City Municipal Code relating to firearms. Motion to approve by Drury. Second by Roberts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 34, second reading ordinance 6328, an ordinance amending section 5.12.080 and adding section 12.20.110 of the Rapid City Municipal Code regarding the consumption, mixing, or possession of alcoholic beverages in public places. Motion to approve by Laurenti, second by Armstrong. All in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go to Public Works Committee items, and we'll go to Public Works Committee Chair Darla Drew.
Item number 35 is a request by KTM Design Solutions on behalf of Yasmin Dream LLC for reimbursement for repayment of one-half construction costs for sanitary sewer improvements for the North Valley Park in the amount of $110,445.05. I understand this was going to be continued?
That's correct. We've got consent from both parties to send this to the June 3rd meeting.
So I guess we're looking for a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to postpone until June 3rd by Amanda Scott, second by Laurenti. Do you want to speak? And we'll go to Amanda Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. I do see Kyle in the audience, and I just want to see a head shake because I know that this has been discussed and we're still trying to gather some information, but you're okay with this continuation. Mr. Shaffey's okay with this continuation. I know city staff is okay with it, so just wanted to make sure it's on record because I know you guys are looking for an answer, but we want to make sure when we do come up with an answer that it's the right one. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Motion on the floor is to postpone item 35. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now on to Legal Finance Committee items. We'll go to Legal Finance Committee Chair Laura Armstrong.
Okay, we have a request reimbursement for property damages from sewer backup for Mr. Fred Reed.
Okay, there be a motion?
Any discussion?
Lisa Modrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I ask our Attorney Joel a question?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Joel, I know there's a lot of communication between Mr. Reed and the City of Rapid City over years. And I'm just trying to find where the solution is to this, because we have a backup system that happened once again. What is the resolution to stop the damages for Mr. Reed, as he had him previously and now he has had him again?
Well, I would probably defer to Dale Tech, the Public Works Director, but as you're aware at this point, they're studying the area, and if they can pinpoint a cause, then that will tell us what the solution is. At this point, we really don't know what the cause of the backups is. We have a theory. I think the theory is that people are hooking up their sump pumps to illegally hooking their sump pumps up to the city sanitary sewer system, which is overwhelming it. It appears, and Dale again can correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears to be a capacity issue, and based on the amount of residents and things, there shouldn't be a capacity issue. So something's causing the capacity problems, and as the presentation at the Public Works Committee, for those of you who are on the Public Works Committee, Public Works has done several things. They haven't found any reason why water's infiltrating the system. They've looked at the pipes, and I think they've started doing smoke tests last week, and I don't know that there's any results from that at this point.
So if it's a capacity issue, doesn't that come back to the city?
No. That would be a design issue, and at the time, frankly, for the number of houses, I think the capacity should be there. The reason the capacity isn't there is because people are illegally putting more water into the system than it can handle. If they weren't hooking up their sump pumps, it's likely that there wouldn't be a capacity issue.
Mayor, may I ask Mr. Reed a question?
Yes.
Great. You may have to run because they're going to take my clock away. I'll ask it while you're running. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Thank you. Do you run a sump pump?
Yes, I do.
Do you run it into the sewer or outside of the sewer?
From April 1st to October 31st, it's outside.
And that is the way our ordinance is written, isn't it? Is that you have a time frame?
If you get a permit, but I think I'm trying to remember what Nicole from Public Works said, but I think there's like a handful of permits in the entire city, let alone in this neighborhood. So we're well aware that probably a number of people who are doing that don't have the requisite permit.
I think we're releasing some letters on that in order to address that with people that don't know after all these years. Have you ever issued a permit for your usage during that time?
Yes, I have.
So we do have one of our residents of the handful that is here that has been following the legal guidelines of the city, has had this problem before. If we have an overrun, if we're putting taxation on the system because of others in the community that are running it into what we consider illegal right now run, and it's backing up to him, I have to question if the city has a responsibility here, because placing that much water isn't something that he's doing. He's running his home the way he's obligated to do, but once again has another, with documentation, claim that's happened again. And this is a couple $1,000, $1,900 I think was.
Yeah, 1935 was the total, something like that.
That I think we need to consider. We're not fixing his problem, and now we've got more rains and more sumps running, and I think we're going to be probably seeing him again. So I hope we can help Mr. Reed help himself getting out from under what this backup is and where it's coming from. He can't stop his neighborhood from doing this, but we can. Thank you.
I have important information to add on this as a resident of the same neighborhood and as someone who's experienced 2 sewer backups in 4 years and a lightning strike, but I'm not accusing the city of causing that. I think it was the former mayor. The scenario is that during a huge storm event, the storm water floods up through the sewer system. There have been some improvements made in that neighborhood. I understand there's a neighborhood of about 400 homes that feed into that main sewer. And so a number of, Dale probably knows exactly how many, but a number of manhole covers have been replaced now that don't allow water to infiltrate in through there. I think, at least in my time being here, and perhaps in a long time, this sewer system has had the most testing and most evaluation of any sewer system I know of. And it continues today. So they're forcing smoke into this main, hoping that it will come out of the ground and find some defect that they can fix. But I am in the same boat as Mr. Reed in that it's not my fault, but that doesn't necessarily make it the city's fault, in my opinion. I've not filed a claim. I've not been reimbursed from the city. But it's an unfortunate situation that we all have to hope we find a solution for. Steve Laurenti.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to make a motion to deny, and if I could maintain the floor.
Okay, we have a second by Amanda Scott. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to, I saw this on the agenda, and I understand the gentleman's plight, but at the same time, we'd be opening Pandora's box. The city's budget is not set up for this type of reimbursement, and no doubt if we started doing this, we would need to increase taxes somewhere to cover a program to do these types of reimbursements. So the unfortunate side of it is we would be taxing all of the taxpayers for some people's reimbursements. So it's up to future councils, but I would say for this particular issue, we need to put it away. If future council or this council wants to take up changing the particular policy and the ordinances that go along with it, you know, then let's have that debate. But I don't want to be set up here on this particular issue acting as a quasi-court saying whether this guy should get reimbursed or not, because as the mayor has stated, there are probably many people besides himself, thousands of Rapid Cityans who've had sewer issues that have been internal to their homes, and those were private insurance, and if they will, civil court issues if they pursue such an avenue. So that's why I made my motion to deny.
Thank you. Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to agree with Mr. Laurenti on this motion because if the staff will weigh in, or the directors will weigh in on my comments, I'd like to hear from Director Tech as well. We do not have insurance to cover this. Am I correct saying that? No insurance, and then so no city insurance is able to cover this. And I agree with and I sympathize with Mr. Reed as well. I totally understand because my area is a different kind of flooding, and we don't have any recourse in that just yet as well. So I would like to wait until we get the study back from the Public Works Department and our consultant engineers to determine what is the problem down there, what is causing it. But right now, I don't see the city as liable for this particular issue because it's not our fault. Mother Nature is helping out on this situation, and if that's the wrong term, I apologize, but we're not getting any support from Mother Nature on this. Mr. Reed, you look like you have something to add.
Well, I just want to clarify that I've done everything I can. I've put the sewer block in. It's not required. It failed. It failed because 150 manholes that you've now corrected, whether or not, if liability is not need to be proven, I gave you the information. It's not a tort claim. This is inversion condemnation. That the city has basically used my house as an overflow. If you would like to purchase my home, market value, then we can discuss that, if that's how you would like to use it. But I need to be protected from you. And it's your job to make sure that this doesn't happen, not only to me, but on every instance. And 2 inches of rain in an hour at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on May 17th is not a 100-year flood.
No, thank you, Mr. Reed. I appreciate that. And then I also want to acknowledge the mayor's comments, because he does live down in this area, and he's not the only resident that's experienced the same situation that you are. So again, I sympathize with you, and I also sympathize with the other residents that are having this experience, but I want to make sure that we get the correct data in, and if it is because of the illegal connections that are taking place down in that area, I want to make sure we get that determination before we start. Bottom line is we'll have to start taxing the other taxpayers within the city, because we just don't have the funding source for this at this point. So again, I apologize, but I'm supporting the denial at this time. Thank you. I yield.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to deny this item. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries with 1 no. And that takes us through legal and finance items, on to community development items. Item number 37, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Prairie Valley Development Company, LLC, for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots 2 through 19 of Block 6, lots 5 through 15 of Block, hold on. Wait, sound it out. Of Block 7. Lost it in my bifocals.
You want me to step in?
No. Block 7, lots 1 through 20. Block 8, lots 1 through 40 of Block 9 of Prairie Fire Subdivision, generally described as being located west of Anderson Road and south of Winton Street.
Move to approve a stipulation.
Motion to approve by Scott with stipulation, second by Laurenti. All right, 38. Oh, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion to adjourn. Item number 38. A request by Spurlick Consulting for Double L Properties LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed Lot 10 of Block 3 of Ranch at Black Gap, generally described as being located south of the intersection of Black Gap Road and Highway 79.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Drew to approve a stipulation, second by Drury. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The following alcohol beverage license, are there any reason to separate them, or would you like to vote on all of them? Okay, any input from the police department on licensing? Okay. Okay, this will be for items 39 through 41, which will be all of the grouped licenses. We have a motion by Laurenti, second by Drury. So motion for approval, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us down to 42. Under public hearing items 42 through 53, there are no speaker requests for these items, so we'll go on to consent public hearing items 42 through 51.
Move to approve consent items.
Motion to approve by Scott on the consent, second by Lewis. All in favor of approving consent, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Non-consent public hearing items, items 52 and 53. Item 52, second reading, Ordinance 6322, an ordinance amending Section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Spurlick Consulting for Doak LLC for a rezoning from medium-density residential district to low-density residential district for property generally described as being located north of the intersection of Cobalt Drive and Coalbank Court.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Modrick and a second by Drew. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 53, second reading, Ordinance 6323, an ordinance amending Section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code, a request by Spurlick Consulting for Doak LLC for a rezoning from General Agricultural District to Low-Density Residential District for property generally described as being located north of the intersection of Cobalt Drive and Misty Woods Lane.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Drew, second by Drury. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 54, the bill list, will go to Finance Officer Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have two additions to the bill list. One is for Youth and Family Services for their first year payment on the funding allocation from Vision in the amount of $1.3 million. And then the second would be for the Community Health Center of the Black Hills. This is also Vision funding in the amount of $126,091.20 for a new total of $6,723,822.83.
Motion to approve with the additions from Laurenti and a second from Drew. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Scott, second by Roberts. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much, everyone.